right.
I saw the little recording button.
Did you? Yeah.
That's all good. You can edit it later. You can cut off
I could cut
all the stuff I shouldn't be saying.
Yeah. So, Wyatt Watkins, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I feel honored to be your second guest on your podcast.
Yeah, man. Welcome. It's an honor to have you here. I've always, first of all, loved your name. As I mentioned so many times, it's like an actor's name. You should be actually in an action film. You know, powerful name, Mr. Wyatt Watkins.
Yeah, I appreciate it. You know, I'll take you up on that offer, though. Once I'm on your podcast, then I could go be a movie star.
There we go. Awesome, man. So I've known you for a long time, and I wanted to do this podcast, and I wanted to kind of bring people that I know that are just real people that have real stories about their own personal struggles in life and just in their hopes to start a new business, whether it be in graphic design, whether it be in coaching and in creating an event for themselves. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to get you on board, because I said, man, this guy is, you started your own nutrition business. You started Thorson Nutrition. You have this drive in you, and I from the first day I met you, you're a very positive guy. You inspire people around you, and I said to myself, this guy would be the perfect person to be on the podcast. So, no, not at all, man. But let's to some of the listeners that are watching this for the first time. What's your story? Tell us your background. Start from the beginning. You don't have to start since you were born or you were 2 years old. But what's your story?
Well, we'll keep it on the entrepreneurial aspect of things. So it's interesting you bring that up, Thorson Nutrition. Yeah, that was my last endeavor, and that was more a desperation attempt of trying to achieve something more than where I'm at right now. And it was more of an inspiration to help kind of elevate my attitude in the present moment. Because I've always been an entrepreneur from the beginning, and the company I work for now is actually my second career job, and I've only had 2 careers my whole life. The rest of the time I've actually owned my own companies, and I don't know if you know that about me. Actually, yeah, I have a lot of stories of different entrepreneurial things I've done.
Awesome.
It's just been a passion since I was young, and like all through college, I have one of those typical stories of, I was in college and I was broke and I needed money. So actually one of the first businesses I started in college was, I was like, I need a lot of money because I need to pay for books,
Right.
I ended up getting an academic scholarship for college, so I didn't have to pay for tuition. However, I had to pay for books, and I had to work and pay for, everything else. So I had a part-time job, but I needed more money to pay for books. So I actually went door to door selling punch cards for car washes.
Really?
Yeah. So
how old were you, by the way?
Damn, I'm not good with dates and stuff, but I was a junior in college.
Woo! Nice. I love that. Okay.
It was a while back. But basically, yeah, I woke up, I was like, I need money to pay for books. What am I going to do? So I didn't own a computer. I went to the computer lab, made these punch cards, printed them out, cut them up, and I went door to door asking people to buy these punch cards. And basically, I had one of those flip phones back in the day. I just had my number and my name, and they'd pay, I forgot the amount, but it was like $5 or $10. And so each punch card was worth $100, and they could call me at any time, and I'd go to their house and wash their car.
Nice.
So one day I went around and made $500, and I was able to get my books for school.
That is awesome. Wow.
Yeah. The unfortunate part was I had to wash cars, after those 5 punch cards, it was 50 car washes that people could call whenever. So the plan wasn't thought all the way through. And I was washing cars for the rest
of most ideas are not, yeah.
Whenever they called, and it was quite the effort. You know, it was easy enough, but it was just funny because I got the money up front, got what I needed done, and then I had to follow through with washing all those cars whenever they wanted. So that was like one of my first door-to-door direct sales entrepreneurship in college.
Nice, nice. So that's where you got bit by the bug there.
By the bug. Yeah. And so that kind of started, well, I had other companies before that, but that was just a good representation of just that spirit of like accomplishment.
Wow, what a great story, man. Thank you for sharing that, man. That's an awesome story.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
So I know your current position, as most entrepreneurs out there, you have a few people out there that either have the funding, they have their parents that have a good amount of money, or they have a great business plan. They go to a bank, maybe they go to a VC and try to get money from different avenues, and which is great for some people. But then you have another a percentage of people where they try to do it on their own. They are working a full-time job, 8 to 5, 9 to 5 job, and they're trying to do both. And I think most people that are trying to start a new venture, they're around that 9 to 5 type of job where you're working 5 days a week. So, and what have you currently? You're in what position? Are you in a sales position? Not to say the company or who you work for, but are you in? I believe you're in sales, correct?
Currently, I'm a regional sales manager for a large company.
Fantastic. So a lot of that, and I would imagine that you do a lot of training and motivating, and you have to inspire your own sales team to sell, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so you have a lot of experience in that, and I wanted to kind of pick your brain as far as you've had so much experience in that area. Your idea as far as what business you want to start, it's a very, they kind of go hand in hand, and it's, you know, when you told me your idea, I thought it was an amazing idea, and I wanted to see if you're able to touch on it. What motivated you to do this idea? If you can just tell the viewers, like, what's the idea and the direction it's going.
Yeah, so I was taking some notes while you're talking. It's interesting because there's two aspects to touch on. You're talking about, you know, entrepreneurship in the past and in the present, and funding and what you need. And then you're also talking about once you break through the idea phase, the entrepreneurship phase, into management training and progress, right? So you're asking twofold questions.
Yeah.
It's very interesting this day and age. Like, entrepreneurship has changed. Information is everywhere, and it's free and cheap, and to do stuff is easy. So like, one of the first businesses I started right out of college was an industrial supply company. And so basically what that is every large company has to work to OSHA standards, which means, I don't know if anybody out there knows OSHA standards, but any kind of industrial business has to have a certain level of cleanliness, certain level of materials and cleaning supplies and this and that. And so they actually outsource that to other companies to come in and do that. So right out of college, I formed an industrial supply company.
Okay.
It took me a year to do a business plan, research what formation I wanted to do, file the formation, get everything legal and legit, open the business bank account. 1 year into business, no money made, you know, just all money spent. But I had my first legal, legit company.
Okay.
And it's interesting now moving forward, where we're talking, I did Thorson Nutrition. I did that extremely fast because now everything can be done online. Everything's very cheap. You know, all this knowledge is just there for you to use. There's almost a paradigm shift in how much funding do you really need to start a business or to do what you want. So that's always something to really think about. What I see when I'm consulting people on starting companies or entrepreneurship is they get really bogged down in things they think they need and focused on the wrong thing instead of understanding that the most important part is selling it.
Very true.
And that kind of segues into the other career I used to have. My first career that I had after I sold I sold the industrial supply company, had a yoga studio that blew up, and ended up selling my clients and then opening a retreat in Monterey on the water where we had yoga, personal training, spin.
Nice.
Then
Okay.
ended up selling that business. And after that, I become a business consultant for a large financial institution. So being a business consultant for a large financial institution, I worked with businesses 5 million and above, and my goal was to help them be financially successful. So what I learned from that is, in a nutshell, not to talk for 3 hours.
No. I'm loving this. Loving this.
So what I learned in working from everyone from, coffee shop owners to legit brain surgeons to dentists to art dealers to retail clothing stores, you name it, I helped them either build from the ground up or expand or take on equipment financing, business loans, all these different things, money markets. The one thing I realized over a period of 4 years of doing this is the people that were successful are the people that could sell it. Like the quality of the product is important, but if you can't sell it, or you don't want to sell it, or you can't hire someone to sell it, you're dead in the water.
Sales is everything.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you. You can have a great idea, you can have a great product, you can have a great support system, but if no one can sell the product or the service, you're absolutely right. You're dead in the water. So, that's one thing that a lot of people out there don't know. Some people are great at selling. Some people have to be nurtured and they have to be trained to sell, while others, they have a challenging time to try to sell anything. Whether it's door to door, whether it's on the phone, it's just a little tough for some people. But it can be done. It can be done by anybody. If you put full force your effort into it, anything can be learned. So tell us about your product, or your service. What are you getting into? What's the next phase or
next phase? Yeah. So just finishing up on that. So it was interesting having a book of business that I built from the ground up for this financial institution, and working with several different coffee shop owners, or several different dentists, or several different art dealers, or several different. This was all in Monterey. So if you guys know Monterey and Carmel, there's a lot of money there, right?
Right.
So, it was just interesting to see that, say you have 4 coffee shops and you have someone that could make the best coffee, but it always boils down to the art of sales, or and then the management and your team, because the coffee shop that had the best coffee wasn't making all the money. The one that actually was doing the not local, the not high-end coffee, she was always selling when you walked in.
Right.
And it made you want to go back, and she was always had the successful business. So it's interesting, me being more of a process organizer, kind of guy, and I never thought I was really a sales guy. All the ventures I've done in the past, I was I guess you would say, the brain, the organizer, the executor, and then I wanted someone else to sell. So going back to the industrial supply company, my job was to build it from the ground up, and I had a salesman.
Nice.
1 year, he didn't make a single sale because while I was building the business, he was supposed to be building clients.
Right.
I don't know what he was doing all day, but
Screwing around.
yeah, and we were doing side jobs to fund the business. So we were getting by, as you know, young people do. You get by.
Yeah.
And so finally I hit a point, and that's a whole talk about business with friends too. But anyway, finally I hit a point where I was like, what's going on? And he'd tell me how hard it was. So me, an introverted, not salesperson, not a presenter, out of desperation, I was like, let's go. Let's go today. We're going to sign one contract. We're going to make it happen today. We went out. By the end of the day, we had 3 contracts. We were making $1,500 a week all of a sudden in one day.
Nice.
And
you mentioned something really interesting where you said that you were somewhat of an introvert.
yes.
And you really didn't, you kind of went out there out of desperation and you forced yourself. You got out of your comfort zone, which a lot of people can't do, which is you did it and you were successful. And it's always a little nerve wracking when you get out of your comfort zone, but
Like doing a podcast.
yeah, exactly. So exactly, that's another one. Getting out of your comfort zone. So, but that's awesome. Great story. So, but yeah, no, continue.
Yeah. So that was kind of my first dabbling in bigger sales. Like, yeah, the door-to-door thing, it's interesting. Out of like, I needed to pay for books for college.
Right.
I needed money. So out of desperation, I went door-to-door and sold it. And it's interesting. Yeah, that's a funny correlation I never thought, because I was out of desperation, then out of desperation for our business after a year. And I was actually working in a vineyard, literally cutting the ties, tying the vineyards, picking the grapes. That's what I was doing to fund that venture so we could do that. And I was like, it's been a year. Why haven't we had any sales? He said, it's hard. I'm like, it can't be that hard. So we went out and yeah, we literally, the first person we got a hold of, the decision maker, the owner, they signed the contract for 3 years right there. Bam, first person.
Nice.
You know, we had to visit a lot of businesses that day, but the very first decision maker I got to signed.
Of course, man, the law of large numbers.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
yeah. And so that was way before I got into the financial institution as a business consultant and learned about sales was key. But I kept going down the line. Like, so after we sold that business, and I opened this yoga studio actually in Elk Grove, and
Yeah.
built clientele, sold the list, and started the business in Monterey. Like, I was always so focused on making everything correct and having all the functionalities and all the business aspect and all the accounting correct.
Right.
Really focused on sales. But due to the nature of wanting to provide a good service or just being really good at whatever I did, people were drawn to it and I was successful.
Nice.
But thinking back, it's like looking back, if I would have just focused on sales the whole time, I could, well, of course you want the quality, but I could have been extremely successful. So
Sales is everything. It really is.
Sales is really everything. So that kind of brings me to where I'm at right now. Is there is a huge shift.
Ooh. I love that.
There's a huge shift paradigms into where we're at in business today, which is interesting. Being that there's a wealth of knowledge online and there's study groups and there's college, of course, there's all these ways to get knowledge. But what I'm seeing is there's a lot of people with these skills and there's a lot of greatness out there, but people need to be directed in the right direction.
Absolutely.
And people need to understand that sales is the most important aspect of it. It's not like it's just something you have to embrace. People want to be sold.
They do. I want to be sold. Anytime I walk into a store, I want to be sold.
Like, let me give you a story. So people want to be sold, and we don't take that approach enough. So, like, for example, if you walk into a store and you want something, and I'll give an example. So I surf. I was out surfing this morning. That's why I wanted to jump on this podcast, because I was amped from surfing.
Nice. How were the waves, by the way?
It was good. It was good. The water's beautiful. It's out there swimming around.
I need to get out there, man. You need to teach me how to surf, man. I've been wanting to get out there for a while.
I got your board. So basically, surfboards are expensive. So this surfboard was $1,100 something without the fins, without the leash. So it's like almost a $1,500 investment.
Woo!
Altogether.
That's
So I
right.
walk in, and I walk into the surf shop, and I know I want this board. I reviewed it online. I walk in, the guy's like, "Hey, can I help you?" I was like, "I'm just looking at these boards over here," and he's like, "All right." I literally went back to Claremont Surf Shop. Great surf shop, by the way. I don't know if I should say the name or not. But
It's all good. You gave a little plug there.
yeah, so I was. It's my favorite surf shop in town. So I was going there continually over a year, and I was kind of getting the same interaction. Then one day I walked in, and this guy goes, "Hey, how you doing?" And I'm like, "Good." He's like, "What brings you in today?" I was like, "Well, I've been looking at that board." And he's like, "That board, that one right there. Oh man, if you bought that board, you would have so much more fun surfing." And I was just like in that vibe, and he just, he didn't go just the way he went about it. And the point is, I needed to be sold. Like, I wanted that board. I had the money. It's been a year. It's a lot of money to drop. And I just walk in, and he's like, "You're going to have so much fun on that board. This is why. It's great, blah, blah, blah." I bought it and walked out, and I was just like, yeah, I got this great new board. I'm going to go surf.
Yeah.
And I think we miss a lot of that. It's interesting this morning, right now, being that I'm in sales. I went into a burrito shop. I'm on a health kick, so I'm trying to eat really healthy. And I was like, you know what? Just surfed. I'm going to get a burrito. I walk in, and coming up to help. And, every interaction's a sale, especially at a mom and pop burrito store.
Every interaction. Right.
It's like the mom and pop coffee shops. And no one's coming up. And the guy finally comes up, and I'm like, my instincts be, "Hey, how's it going?" But I'm holding back because it's his establishment. I'm just waiting. And he's just like, didn't even say hi or what do you want. He just went, "Ugh." And he didn't even look up at me. And he was just waiting for me to spout what I wanted. So I kind of looked at him, and I walked out.
I've done that before.
But if he would have, there's a little sales aspect of it. Like, I wanted to be sold because I wanted that burrito.
There's actually a Mexican restaurant in I believe it's Inglewood or Hawthorne, and you walk in and the owner comes out and shakes your hand. Probably doesn't even know anyone's name. Each time I walk in, he's got a great memory. He'll shake your hand, and say, "Hey, how's it going? Welcome back. Hey, I missed you. Come on in. We have a great specials. Man, how's your family?" He does that to every single person that walks in.
Wow.
And the thing that really resonates with me is that the reaction from his customers. They just feel so loved and so, wow, this guy remembered me. He probably doesn't remember your name, but he remembers you.
Right.
And his restaurant is so busy. It's not the greatest, but it's so busy because the way he interacts with his customers as they walk in the door. And there's not many restaurants that are like that, So
that's awesome.
definitely selling his business to everybody, and it works. He's doing great.
Yeah. And so sales is definitely key. And the second aspect of that question, circling around to management, you're definitely sales is key. Then all of a sudden, management is a whole different ballgame.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so there's a thin line between management, motivation, leadership, coaching.
Right.
So those are all part of management, and that's a whole different skill set. Now, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you got to define what kind of entrepreneur you are. Are you an entrepreneur of the craft? Like, for example, I've been surfing my whole life and I'm really good at it. And if I want to open up a surf lessons place, is that my craft?
Right. Or surf shop, surf. Yeah, right. Makes sense.
Yeah. Or like if you're an artist, you know, or if you cut hair, like some business across the street and you're going to open up a shop, what part of that process are you? You know, you have to really be honest with yourself to recognize in this world today, circling back around to what I was saying about so much knowledge and so much is easy to obtain and so much connection to people that the world is different. You don't have to do everything yourself. It's very easy to get connected. There's a lot of programs that can do stuff for us. So really just honing in on what you're trying to accomplish, what you need, what you're good at, and who else can you hire to help you do it. And so
that's key. What you just said was you dropped a lot of good knowledge there. It's what are you good at? Is there something that you're good at? Is there, do you have a passion that you have? What are you good at? And really focus in those areas. And that's a big bomb you dropped right there.
I appreciate it. Yeah. And so yeah, there's a lot in that circle. So digressing back into management is a beast of its own, and management is different. There's entrepreneurship, there's creativity, and then there's management. Management is more of now you've established yourself. Now you're a boss. Now you are the man, you know, as in the corporate man, like you're hiring people, you're bringing people in, and now you're trying to portray yourself either as a leader, a coach, a mentor, a boss, or a manager. And, you know, it's all specific to your industry. And then that all goes down into how you're going to train and what you expect.
Right. Exactly. So
that's
awesome.
So what do you want to know on the management side or the entrepreneurship side?
I love that. So what is your project? I know that you mentioned that you're working on a project right now outside of your 9 to 5.
Right.
Can you touch on that a little bit?
Sure. So the project I'm working on right now, I was kind of going into a little bit and I got sidetracked, is basically there's a huge need out there. Like I said, there's a lot of talented people looking to share their skills, talents, gifts with the world, and they want to create a business, or they want to know how, or there's so many aspects to business, like all we're talking about. It's a huge, overwhelming just world to get into, but it's actually, with so many resources and taking it in the right steps, it's really not. Like, oh, I'm going to need a lot of money to do this. Actually, do you need a lot of money to do that? Who do you have? How can you get it? You know, there's all these funding sites and different things you can do as well. But some people are really overwhelmed. So where I'm going is I'm taking my 4 years of working with clients to expand their businesses or be financially successful. I'm taking, in the financial world, I'm taking that 4 years of experience, my 6 years of training, running sales teams,
right,
and then I'm connecting with other people that have very successful skill sets in entrepreneurship, public speaking, and accounting, and all that stuff. And you bring it all together, and we're basically forming a support system where if you need help doing this process, we're here to help you do that process. So if you're an entrepreneur, from I need to format my accounting, you know, filing, all that stuff, I can guide you in that direction easily. If you need to increase sales, you need to increase marketing, you need to do some sort of branding, you know, I need to do sort of launch in some sort of area of whatever your industry is, we have someone in expertise in that area that can help you out.
Wow.
You know, there's definitely a huge change. Like, sales has always been key, but it's becoming more of a key of face-to-face sales. You know, in the past, direct sales has always been referred to as a pyramid scheme
right,
or a negative thing. But it's funny because now companies two things have happened. The boom of online, when it comes to Instagram, Facebook, all that's direct sales.
Right.
Even, I started this nutrition company and was like, all it is direct sales.
All of it.
You're setting up in gyms. I'm selling at trade shows.
Yes.
Even when I'm approaching other businesses to get my stuff in their store, I'm still canvassing.
It's still direct sales. Yeah.
Direct sales. So there's a huge area nowadays. Like before, it was looked at, and there's a lot of gurus now that do a lot of sales training, but they tend to shy away from direct sales.
Yeah.
But if you're not doing the direct sale, period, you're not connecting face-to-face with people, you're not making sales, your value of your product is getting lost in the sea of, back to what I was saying, there's so much ability to make badass videos, to make all this stuff, it's lost. So we're going to have to move, digress back to the art of face-to-face, bringing your abilities face-to-face with people to show them your greatness. And you have to represent yourself. Like, yes, you're going to back it by these products and ads, and all this stuff is now a world necessity, but you have to personally bring yourself to the table. So we specialize in the art of face-to-face sales, direct sales, business management, entrepreneurship, and I have some strong public speakers that can also help create past the part of here's theory, but what can we do to dive into your company and create sales pitches. Like, I got a great guy who is a lyrical poet and makes these awesome sales pitches.
Nice.
And like, how can we help you with sales pitches? How do you deliver it? How do you train your sales team? And once you get that sales team, how do you manage them? Do these people need to be managed, mentored, leadered, or coached?
That is awesome. Wow.
That's the whole thing in a nutshell.
Okay. So what would you categorize that with? Is it more of a business coaching enterprise, or is it more of a self-help? It's not self-help. It's more business coaching, entrepreneur coaching, maybe?
Yeah, and see, that's where we're kind of, I don't want to say hung up, but it is forward thinking. Anytime you have a forward thinking idea, it's hard to define in the moment.
Right.
But it needs to be forward thinking because this isn't, when you say coach, there's a lot of coaches, but the difference between coach and what we're looking to do is we're here to listen. Like, the very first aspect of what I train my partners to do is to listen. We have a basic list of questions for all our new clients, and our job is to listen to the person, because my goal in this company isn't just to share more philosophy or more ideas. Like, we have all this experience, but we want tangible results tailored to you. So the very most important part is listening. So coaches, a lot of time, they know a playbook, and a coach's job is to create the plan, execute it, and motivate. But I'm not the expert. You're the expert of your field. So I have to learn you. I have to learn your field before I could even coach you. And I can counsel you because, like I said, when I worked with all those different types of companies and they came to me, I didn't go to school to be a doctor.
Right.
So I can't
expertise. Right.
Yeah. So that's the difference, and that's where we're in the last phase of development, defining our products so someone could digest it. Because the one interesting thing about consumer is they want to buy something that's familiar, but be excited by something they don't know.
Very true.
So when you go out, and this is a story for maybe another podcast, I created something that was really awesome way back in the day, way before its time. And when I went to sell it, I was constantly rejected because they couldn't grasp the concept.
Oh, you're an inventor now from the future. What is this? I like this.
Yeah.
So that's the side of you that I didn't see before. What's happening over here?
It's a story for another time. So basically,
that'll be part two.
Part two. I went out to angels, investors, and I pitched it, and they didn't understand.
Yeah.
They didn't understand. And I felt I needed this money. And at the time it did, because things were expensive. And it actually fell apart because I had to make the choice: pay rent or pay for this product I was doing, and I had to pay the rent. But anyway, the point I'm making is I realized, like, a lot of people get dead in the water at that point. You got to realize that people want to be excited, but they also want to be familiar. So that's kind of the part we're at. How do we package this idea so it's familiar? Like, do we call it a coach? Do we call it counseling? Because that's what is familiar now. But if we're really adding to this of, we're here to listen to you and to help you get tangible results. This isn't philosophy.
Awesome.
You're going to come away with money, right?
Right.
That's where we're at right now with that.
Awesome. As I mentioned to you, I think the path that you're on, it's a great idea. When you first told me the business venture, I was like, wow, that's an amazing idea. And I didn't know how to wrap my head around it. Was it a business coaching opportunity? Was it support for businesses and entrepreneurs out there that are really trying to be successful, that are trying to either leave their 9-to-5 or trying to garner success in their own field? But overall, I was like, wow, Wyatt is onto something. This is great. So kudos to you, man. I think it's a great idea, and I think you're going to find some success in it.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, one thing I want to know is for a person like you, what motivates you? What really motivates you to do this?
So what is the true motivation?
What puts that fire in your ass? What is motivating you to put so much time in this venture?
So you know what?
But in all the other ventures that you've done in the past, what is it?
So what I realized, there's a couple. It's a dynamic answer. One, I enjoy the process. A lot of people don't enjoy the process. Like, I enjoy the creation and the study and the work and the process more than the product, if that makes sense. Okay. Like, I enjoy the fantasy of the idea. I love I can do that. I can make it happen. And I can tell you a story about that in a second. But I love the idea of thinking of something, creating it, working backwards. Everybody tries to work forward, but instead working backwards. Like, this is what I want. How do I get there? Everything's possible. It's just, how do you get it done? And are you willing to put in the time to get it? Right. And it's valuable to you. So for me, it's always been the process. And I've been sought out to consult and start a couple business for other people. Right. And I love it. Like, people have reached out to me, and I love formulating, helping them from the ground up, build their business, this and that, and then I'm out of the process. And so that really gets me fired up. Somebody has a business idea and they want to run with it. I love helping them out. I love the whole process, and I'm really good at it, which also feels good. And when I talk to people, for me, it's so clear and so easy. And they're like, whoa. And I'm like, no, it's easy. Them, it's scary. And I'm like, oh no, it's an easy process. It's all steps. We'll get through it, And so that excites me. And that actually blends into life, because at some point we have to live life. We have to do our day job until we do something else, because life is expensive in California, and I'm sure
especially in California.
Yeah. So, it's.
So you like it, you enjoy it. So what advice can you give someone that's out there that doesn't enjoy it? Maybe they have a hard time being motivated in the morning. Maybe they have an amazing idea. They want to create their own business. They have a great idea, but it's hard for them to get up in the morning and get motivated. What is your advice to some of the people that want to do it, but they just can't get motivated?
So I'm writing notes down, because for me, there's always two aspects of things. And what it sounds like to me, I would have to listen to this person and understand why they're not motivated. Because in this situation, it could be more of a lifestyle choice. It could be a dietary choice. It could be health issues. It could be stress. It could be mental health issues. And I say that in a variety of ways, because we all go through that, like, depression and constraints that we're putting on ourselves. Right. So what is really taking them away from that energy to follow what they need? And we have someone in our group that actually specializes in that area. because entrepreneurship there's no blend between, no separation. It's a complete blend of life, and your small business is your life. So if you're saying somebody wants to be an entrepreneur, wants to do this, but can't get the first step, can't get past this, there's probably something else they need, we'll call it coaching on first, or to resolve first. Like, what is stopping you? What's in your way? Like, is it mental? Is it physical? Is it, whatever it is, you're going to have to work on, because no one's going to give you anything. It's going to be a hard fight the whole time.
Yeah, you got to work for it. Nothing is free in life.
Yeah, so that's my advice. You got to find what's stopping you. You have to accept the fact that it's going to be hard and no one's going to give it to you, but you deserve it if you work for it. So, and you got to, maybe something that might help, which I tell myself, is the world is big, and we see a lot of success is always through Facebook, Instagram, like media.
Right.
Success. And it's overwhelming. But you got to step back and say, how big is my pond, or how big does my pond have to be? Like, everybody I talk to is, when they're talking about some sort of entrepreneurship, like there's like different personalities. Some do it just because they're focused on the art of their craft, whatever. And then other people are like, I want to make $50,000 a month.
Yeah. It's about,
well, how much are you making now? Well, I drive Uber.
Making a couple $100 a month.
Exactly. And I'm like, so how big does your pond really need to be? And how many people do you need in that pond to make, say, $2,000 a month, which would change your life?
Right.
And you're worth it, and there's room in the world for whatever you do if you do it well. So that's my advice.
Good advice. Good advice. One thing that I've always admired about you is that you've always seemed to be positive. And that's a quality that some people have, just they have it naturally. Others need to work on it. And how did you become so positive? I know how I became so positive. I think I'm more of an optimistic, and nothing tries to faze me in a negative way. But for yourself, how did you become so positive in every aspect of your life? Because it seems that in the workplace, I've known you at work, and I've seen some very, very stressful situations that would just come your way, and I look at the way that you react, and you react in a very calm and a very positive way. How did you become that way?
Well, without getting too overly personal on this right now, like, we could probably do other podcasts in the future, but I believe, like, my personality is developed out of hardship, and so I've seen a lot, I've been through a lot, and due to those challenges, you have two choices. You always have a choice. Everything's always a choice.
Everything's always a choice, right?
And that was always, I always went to hope, or I always went to envision something. And I just believe, I always just had that vision of there is good out there. Yeah. And so and I care about people intrinsically. I really do. So that really helps. It's easy to focus on negative, and negative is very corrupting.
Yes.
And it just spreads so easy, and it feels really good at first, and then it just spreads. It's really hard to be positive. And people that are negative or develop negativity really frown on you being positive and really shoot you down. However, you get a bunch of good-hearted people in the room, and the sky's the limit. That actual, you get just quality individuals focused on the positivity, accepting the hardships, but really staying focused on your goal, and there's just no end to what you can accomplish. And so my positivity really comes from hardship through my younger years and different challenges, and just having a genuine care for other people.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm a great presenter, a great speaker, I don't feel I'm the best at any of these things, But one thing always shines through when I talk to people is they understand that I'm coming from, I want to do my best for you.
Right.
So,
Nice. Wow, that's inspiring, man.
well, it's just the truth.
And I know you mentioned that you had several businesses in the past since college. How many of those did you actually fail at? And the reason I bring that up is because you have a majority of people out there, they're always scared to fail. Whether it's in relationships, whether it's in businesses, they always have that fear of failure. And how many times did you fail in life?
So this is a great question, and the question is, I'm writing down is, did I fail?
Right.
Did I?
I can't tell you how many failed businesses I have had since 18 years old.
And look at you now. You know, so the question is, was those really failures, or were they educational experiences, you can say? And
right.
I truly believe that, because I failed at all of them, I guess you would say,
right.
because I'm not doing them, and I'm not on an island surfing right now. But
right.
But what's the honest thing too about motivation, about what I do, I rather be working with people and helping them achieve their dreams than being on an island surfing.
Right.
So, but failure, like, it's interesting because there is that one that I said we'll talk about another time, which I think was a failure. But all the rest, I think, just build you up to be where you're at now. So, like, I tried, and it's funny, when you're younger, you have the freedom to try, and you're talking about what advice would you give to entrepreneurs. But, like, when you're younger, you have the freedom to try and not succeed, and it's okay because you're learning, you're growing. Then all of a sudden you hit a time in life where it's not okay to try and it's not okay to fail.
Right. Family. You have a family, it's a little more difficult, more challenging. Right.
And you have more to lose. And it's scary. So I would say, like, did I fail on any of them? No, I learned something very valuable. Like, I wasted a year researching how to form a company, building a business plan, and then we go out in one day and we start making money selling. But did I fail at that? But now I know how to do that.
Right.
And it's easy to me because it was so hard to learn that now it's easy to me. And then every business I've done has been the long road, and then I ended up selling the company, and you walk away and you're like, wow. So another advice to entrepreneurs that you were saying that don't want to get out of bed, don't want to do this, don't want to do that, work for a company that does what you want to do. Because one, you're going to have a solid paycheck. Like,
that's fire right there. That's fire what you just said. I like that. Okay.
So whatever you're trying to start a business as, instead of starting that business, go work for that business. Then you're going to be making steady income doing what you love or what you want to do, and you're learning at the same time. And you're making more money doing that than you would being an entrepreneur. And so many people are 9-day, like, I need to do this, but I got to get rid of this. But in today's world, you don't have to do that. And you could be doing this business, learning all this, getting paid, and starting your business on the side. So
that's key. That is so important. What you said is so key. And what kind of advice can you give people that they're afraid to fail themselves? Is it just?
So I'm going to circle back around and tell you a story.
Ooh, stories. I like this.
So,
okay.
It's about mindset. Back when we're younger and we have less to lose, failure. So the answer to your question before I go on the story is, you just got to plan and be smarter about your execution. You can still do it. Just, you got to unlock your brain from constraints. Get up a little earlier, stay up a little later, work a little harder, but plan and take, as a wise man told me, take a little time, the wise man hosting this podcast, take a little time every day, keep plugging along, and you'll get there. So the interesting thing about mindset and failure. So after I sold my industrial supply company, then I sold the yoga studio. I had no job and I wasn't doing anything. I was staying at this resort.
Okay.
All I did, a young man, just out of
Party, get drunk, look for hot chicks.
well, I don't know about all that. But anyway, so I walk into the hotel and I go into the operations manager and I just walk up and I say, introduce myself. And I say, what do you need? I said, what do you need? That's all. That's it. I didn't even know. And that's kind of like a theory around listening to what people need and helping with what you can. But anyway, I walk in and I say, what do you need? And she looks at me and without hesitation, she goes, you know what we need? We need logoed beach mats.
Okay. Okay.
I said, I can get you logoed beach mats, no problem. I'm going to need a deposit of $2,500.
Nice.
The short version, but I'll circle around and go the long way. I walk out of that office with a check in my name for $2,500. And this mission in 6 months to provide 500 logoed beach mats.
Nice. Okay.
In the bank, and I was like, all right, how do we make logoed beach mats? No problem. Go to the 99-cent store, pick up a bamboo beach mat. You can laugh. You know, this is the stuff we do when we're young and the world is, we give ourselves freedom to explore.
Right.
So I take that 99-cent mat, I stroll over to the screen printing place, take the logo that she gave me, had a screen printed on. Crap. Doesn't work. You can't screen print. Peels off, cracks, looks absolutely terrible.
Oh my goodness.
I'm like, so took me a little bit of money and a little bit of time of failing, and it's impossible to do it. But meanwhile, I'm spending the money. So, and the deadline's coming up. So this is a different time back then. You know, the internet isn't what it is today. The connection in the world community we work with is a lot smaller. So I take a chance on a search to find a company in China that just did a lot of things. And so I reach out through email. And again, this is a different time where connecting, you know, is a lot harder. And the individual on the other side, Zhang, says, we can do that for you. So he, in the image, he literally ships me a logoed beach mat. I unroll it and it's beautiful.
Wow.
So he asked me to wire him $1,000 to do all of them.
Nice. Okay. Nice.
And so then I had to wire him the money, not knowing who I was talking to, would it really get there, you know, because literally, you know, the website back in the day, you didn't have that transparency, right?
Right.
So I went to the bank, wired him $1,000, not knowing, and a couple weeks later, he puts it on a freight from China to San Francisco.
Wow.
So now I'm tracking this, calling the ports of San Francisco. The shipment shows up in freight, and I realize that you can't get stuff off the docks not being a logistics company. You know, you can't just walk into the docks
and grab your shipment.
Exactly. So that morning when the freight came in, I hop in my parents' Buick that I bought from them for $1, are driving from Lodi, California to San Francisco. The car breaks down.
Which is a far drive in itself.
Yeah, so I'm stuck on the side of the road. Long story short, I make my way to San Francisco. I go into this great building, and I come up, and not knowing it, I automatically go into sales mode, and the girl behind the counter, I have to come in and I say, I'm honest with her and direct, I have a problem. I have a shipment from China that's stuck on the docks. I need to get it released. I'm not a logistics company. I don't have permits for this. how can we get this done? And she took me through all the paperwork, everything done. I left that day with the mats, delivered them to the hotel, and walked away with a $3,000 profit.
Nice. Wow, what a great freaking story, dude. Holy shit. Wow.
And then she said to me, okay.
Wow.
She goes, I want 1,000 more. And I said, nope, I'm out of the game.
Oh my God, dude. My takeaway from that is, to the viewers out there, don't give up. Don't give up. That is such a wow.
Yeah.
If you're afraid to fail, don't give up. Continue down that path, and you will find success. You'll have little failures along the way, but eventually you will garner some success. There's a quote from one of my mentors in the stock trading world, and I love this quote. He always says, either you make money or you learn. Which I love that quote. It's never you make money or you lose money or you fail. It's always either you make money or you learn, which is something that we all can take away from, you know. So great story, man.
Thank you.
What's next on your plate? What's next for you?
What's next, as in a couple minutes? No, just gotta get to the day. But that's really that's what's next for me. That's really my goal. I want to take my talents, my challenges, my stories, my failures, and take all that experience, find other talented, big-hearted individuals that want to get together in a group and go out and help other people achieve their dream.
Awesome.
And that's kind of the ultimate goal of where I want to be. I'm not looking to quit my day job, because as challenging as it is, I love the position I'm in, because it's constantly making me grow and be challenged. And
right.
It's a challenge, let's just say. And so that's great. And I really see this side as being the positive side in my life when it comes to the work aspect of things. And I'm just excited to see where it goes. We have 3 people on board right now. We're looking for our 4th, and I have a good idea of who that will be. And it's just bringing these good-hearted, strong, experienced people together to help others reach their dreams.
I love that. That was great. You're such an inspiration to people around you, to myself, and that's why I wanted to have you on this podcast. And I hope that we can have a part 2 to this podcast in the next 6 months, just to see where you're at and go from there.
I have tons of stories.
Fantastic. So thanks for being on the podcast, brother. And it was great talking to you for the last hour. And I think a lot of the viewers are going to take away so many golden nuggets from this conversation. So,
well, again, I appreciate you having me on, and I appreciate it.
Cool, brother. I'll talk to you soon, man. And thanks for coming, bro. All right, take care, brother.
You too.